Hey there, friends. I am out of the country. I'm on vacation. It's pretty great. So this podcast is going to be another in sort of these special podcasts that aren't really like classes. And I know if this isn't your thing, I'm sorry, but this is going to be some community updates. It's going to be some exciting things that you can get involved in, and we'll just kibitz for a little bit. It's going to be fun. Thank you so much for all of your support, and I hope you enjoy the episode. I'm Rabbi Patrick, and welcome to Kehillah. So I can't say enough things about how awesome our Shabbat to Commonwealth Autism was. So shout out to Jacob and shout out to Joe, who helped with volunteering, cooking, cleaning, all of that. Really appreciated your help. Kudos to Robin, as always, for providing wonderful music. Oh, we had like 30 people. It was so great. We had diverse ages and different groups. I did a little bit of a Devar Torah about tribes, which was really fun. And we talked about different kinds of tribes that we belong to in our lives, and how one of the things about Kehillah is that we're sort of a federation of different tribes, right? We're all of these different tribes together, whether it's, seniors who get together for lunch, or the Shabbat crew, or the people who are really into volunteering, or the people who just kind of want to give a donation every once in a while but don't want social commitment. Yeah, it's all of us together. And I saw that on Friday night. It was just, unbelievably cool. It was so much fun. If you weren't there, you missed it. It was a banger, let me just tell you. I could have had anything different. It would have been that Stephanie could have been there, but her dad just had surgery. He's doing really well, so we're happy about that. But, obviously family comes first, and so she was down in Atlanta, and I was up here by my little lonesome, me and Maggie and Toes, just kind of hanging out. But I can't say enough. Thank you, everyone who came. And, it's so great, too, because after an event, like, everyone's helping clean up, everyone's talking to each other, people are like exchanging information, kids are hanging out together. It was great. It was so cool, and I can't wait. So part of the Devar Torah that I gave is I talked about how in an American religious system, there's this idea influenced by Western capitalism of bigger, more, larger, right? And Kehillah, we're a little different, right? We kind of like the intimacy. We like the relationship component. We like to get to know people, right? We don't have to come to everything, but we have to build relationships with each other. That would be the worst thing to me. So if I have a choice between lots of small events where people have deep and fulfilling friendships, relationships, versus like I just go to work once a month and 200 people are there and then that's it, I'm going to choose the first one. That's what I'm all about. We had a big board meeting. I said this in the last podcast episode that we talked about this idea of like relationships, and I had this whiteboard set up that had all of these different priorities that the board wants to get involved in, all this other stuff. And I said at the end of our meeting, I said, look, I'm willing to erase all of this if the only thing we accomplish is helping people to form relationships. That is that is the rock that my shul is built on. Anyway, so yeah, and we accomplished it. We seriously accomplished it last Shabbat. It was just incredible. Thank you, everyone who came. Thank you, Martha, for bringing like some sparkly Brut Rosé. That was quite lovely. I'm a big fan of people who bring little presents to Shabbos. Yeah, thank you. Thank you to our friends at Commonwealth Autism. We're going to have a little information about them at the end of this. I just can't say enough good things. You don't want to listen to me just like talk over and over and over again about how great last Shabbat was, but I could do 40 minutes just on that. But I'm not going to. You're not interested in that. We're going to do something else. So let's talk about some things that we're going to need your help with. So I'm out of town right now. And so I don't have anything too exciting to teach you spiritually, but maybe you could be inspired by a few things. So the first thing is that we need your help with high holidays, and there's a bunch of different sort of opportunities to get involved. And as I am pulling up these notes here, so we're going to do something really cool. We're going to let me just back up a little bit, actually. So Rosh Hashanah, like Rosh Hashanah Day, is it's on Pride, like Pride Day, which was so funny because I mentioned this at Shabbat, and Suzanne McEwen, shout out to Suzanne, said, I thought that Pride was in June. Why do we do it in September? And I was like, well, because we schwitz too much in June. And she said, but we schwitz too much in September. Such a Jewish mom answer. I loved it. And she was like, she said that right as I was giving like the Devar Torah. It was awesome. Anyway, but we have these different volunteer roles because Rosh Hashanah and Pride are on the same day. So we had this like conflict. I don't want to say conflict. It was conversation and support. Like, what do we do with that? And so the decision was made. We are the only Jewish presence at Pride. And to actually go back to the Devar Torah that I gave, one of the things I talked about was there is a tribe within Kehillah. We'll call it LGBTQ+. And why should the tribe of LGBTQ+ and the tribe of Jewish have to be in conflict with each other? Well, let's fix that problem. Let's just do Rosh Hashanah at Pride. So thanks to our friends at Diversity Richmond, Virginia Pride, we are going to actually have Rosh Hashanah Day. So Rosh Hashanah evening is going to be at Commonwealth Autism, but Rosh Hashanah Day is going to be at Diversity Richmond, likely in the Iridian Gallery, unless we have way too many people who RSVP, and then we'll kind of put it in a different part of Diversity Richmond. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But then once that's done, once that Torah service is done, that's when Pride Fest opens. So you could just park your car right there, right? And just like, kind of walk down. Yeah. Go down to Midtown Green. You'll want to like park halfway. So maybe you move your car a little bit. But if that's something that's meaningful to you, I'm not going to ask you. No one Kehillah is going to ask you to have to choose between two different communities. We want integration, not separation. So what does that mean? Backing up slightly, we're going to need help with high holidays volunteering. We need cooks. Seriously, I can't do it by myself. The days of Rabbi Patrick thinking he can do things by himself are over for two reasons. One, I can't. Two, it's wrong of me to. It's wrong of me to. So we need your help with cooking. Definitely. We need your help with the service leadership. Would you like to learn a little bit of Hebrew? Would you like to do an English reading? Would you like to read from the Torah? Would you like to just help with musical type stuff? Like, we need your help for the actual davening, for the actual leadership of that. And I get it. There's people who, Stephanie and I were talking about this. There's people that would feel intimidated by that. And I get it. People get stage fright. There's a reason why people don't do personal vows at weddings as much as they could. And I have some experience with weddings. But you don't need to be intimidated. So you definitely use your help there. Now, if you're more of no, I'm going to be at Pride. Well, the thing about Pride is that we're going to have a Rosh Hashanah tent, a Rosh Hashanah booth, really. But you get what I'm saying. So it's not just like, woohoo, Pride, flags, yeah, drag queens. That stuff's great. But we want to create a reverential space there too. We want people to be able to get like little mini Maksarim or little bracha cards or something, because there's going to be that Jewish person that walks by and they said, you know what? I wasn't even thinking it was Rosh Hashanah. It didn't even cross my mind. Or thank you, because I figured I wouldn't see a Jewish presence here anyway. And here you are. That's that person who's not going to be at our Torah service at Diversity Richmond, right? They won't even know about that. They won't have even looked into the possibility of that. They will just say, yeah, this like whatever. I'll just go to Pride, right? Because that person's going to show up and they're going to go, well, didn't you do Rosh Hashanah services? Or they're going to say, oh, I guess you do this instead of Rosh Hashanah. We'll be like, no, we were just down the street like 15 minutes ago, right? And here's a Machzor, and here's some things that you could do some davening at home, or here's a little Tashlich service, something, or here's some information about us. We'd love to get to know you. You're part of our tribe. right? So we want to have something like that where someone can have a spiritual experience and then that's that. So we need your help with that. So Leslie and Edva are running point on that. Love your help. Reach out. I'll connect you with them if you don't already have their contact info. Some other things that came up at Shabbat. So we need people for home hosted Shabbat. So I get an email from someone and they're like, oh, yeah, I can't make it to Shabbat, whatever. And I said, well, why don't you let Shabbat come to you? Like, we'll feed you. We'll pay for the food. Like, we'll get it catered or whatever. Or we can cook it in your house for that matter. Yeah, so like no big deal. We'll bring everything to you. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to pay for anything. You're providing the venue. Like, come on. And someone said, but I can only fit like a small number of people. I'm like, that's fine. Sure. Can you fit 10 people? That's good. That works for us. And, that's the thing is that we always feel like we have to provide. It goes back to this thing, more, bigger, bigger, bigger. No. If we do an event, a home hosted Shabbat in your home, and we can only fit 10 people, that's great. Let's do it. That sounds awesome. Sure, why not? We can use your help with that. Another thing we talked about on Shabbat was this need for ambassadors. So there's this thing, I never knew this was going to be a thing, but it's a thing. I sort of get interviewed in some ways to like be people's rabbi. So people hear about Kehillah and then they'll want to get a coffee with me. Now, I'm totally cool with that. Like, that sounds great. We have a thing called coffee with the rabbi for a reason. But people like, I get where we are now culturally. We're afraid to invest ourselves in social situations, not knowing if it's going to pay off or not, right? It's harder and harder to get people to come to things where they don't know whether they're going to like it or not. And they kind of need to test it out and see, is this going to be something that's for me? So one of the ways people do that is they have like a coffee with me. Okay, so that's one way. But the reality is, like, I'm a 43-year-old dad, right, who lives in the suburbs and has a 21-year-old son. And I'm married and I lead this kind of conventional life in spite of the fact that I'm covered in tattoos and was in punk bands, right? So maybe I'm not the right person for people to meet. Maybe there's other people who are more connected with, wherever that person is in life. We got a DM the other day, and this person said, I'd like to meet more people who are in kind of my group, right? My stage in life. And I'm not in that stage of life, right? They didn't say I'm looking for a new Jewish community. They didn't say I'm looking for a new rabbi. I'm looking for a new synagogue. They said I'm looking for Jews who are kind of in my cohort, if you will. But that's not me. So we kind of need someone who's in that cohort, who's in that stage of life. And we can say, hey, listen, we got a friend for you, right? It'd be awesome. And the same is true with social circles. So we have like 3 social circles. We need like 30, right? We need lots of small groups of people hanging out. And it doesn't have to be heavy Jewish content. I'm always going to be dad in a corner with a cardigan who's trying to convince you to do more Jewish things. We've got that covered. What we don't have covered is a group of parents who want to make their kids play on the playground and hang out, right? That we don't have covered. I will always be the person who's first to say, do you want to borrow the tefillin? Do you want to do such and such, right? I will always be that person for you. What we don't necessarily have is a group for people who are trying to level up their life in some way, right? A men's group, a women's group, an LGBTQ plus group, whatever, right? We need those social circles. So if you're someone who's like, yeah, I'm part of this kind of this group, this cohort, this interest group, whatever, and I don't see me represented in the Jewish community, and I know there's more people like me or who have that hobby or share that interest. Yeah, there you go. We learned that last Shabbat. We need people like you. Yeah. Kehillah is not about big buildings, big boards, big names on the sides of big walls with huge Shabbat services. Like it's not. We're about tribes, plural, within a bigger tribe. When Kehillah was first being founded, I wanted to do something that actually my Christian friends I've talked about, like my Christian pastor friends, they one of the things that some of these churches do is they think of a series of pieces of scripture that are foundational to them as a congregation. And I thought there's nothing about that that's like, anti Judaism or anything like that. We could do something like that. So I basically thought about it and I was like, well, what would be meaningful? So I talked to Stephanie because we were working on this together in the early days, and I thought, oh, it's easy. It's Hine Matov. Hine Matov u'manayim shevet achim gan yachad, right? How wonderful, how amazing, however you want to interpret that, or translate that, I should say. When achim, when brothers, but it could be any cohort of people, are sitting together, shevet achim gam yachad. Okay, so when the Achim are together, sitting together, resting together, having dinner together, spending time together in unity, that is a glorious thing. And it's Achim, it's brothers, but like it's lots of groups of brothers, right? It's lots of groups of people. And that's when we are Gam Yachad, when we are in unity with one another. That's the Kehillah thing. Lots of different kinds of disparate people who all share the same set of values, whether we come to everything or we come to some things, or we just give a donation every once in a while, or we're somewhere in China listening to this, which apparently is a thing. Makes me slightly nervous, but whatever. Yeah, that's Kehillah, all right. All of us, different kinds of people. And so we need your help. So if you want to be an ambassador, if you want to be someone who I can say, hey, we've got someone who serves in the military. We'd love to connect you with them. Hey, we have someone who's a single parent. Hey, we have someone who's a Jew of color. We have someone who is a single mom or whatever, right? Like, we got you. And, sometimes it's going to be me. They're going to want to talk to me. Yeah, that's how that works. But sometimes they just want you. And also, maybe there's enough of you that there needs to be a group, right? 3-4 people to get together. We're getting away from the big, more stuff. Like, erase that. 3-4 people hanging out over coffee, right? Going for a walk, going to a movie, hanging out at the JCC, whatever your thing is. Let's do that. And home-hosted Shabbat, I know it's a big ask, but listen, you provide the roof and we provide everything else. Honestly, friends, we will even clean your house afterwards. We need your help. High holidays, pride, we need your help. We need your presence. So reach out to me. I got links all through this podcast notes. I'm not going to see them because I'm gone. But when I get back, I look forward to seeing everything that you send. Take care. God bless. Appreciate you being here. So we had our first Shabbat at Commonwealth Autism, and they have so many interesting things going on that you need to know about. So autism and neuroinclusivity in the workplace. This is a foundational training offered to individuals, organizations, or businesses looking to build inclusive culture into their communities. They're offering 3 available dates. There's an Eventbrite that we've put here in the show notes with further details, and you're going to see the flyer. It's going to be sent out throughout our social media. Also, Good Foods Grocery. So if you go over by where Trader Joe's is, right around the corner from Commonwealth Autism, there's Good Foods Grocery. You need to go there. This is a really great store. This is connected to Commonwealth Autism because they provide job training and all kinds of wonderful stuff there. And they're going to do a craft and read along. This is July 23rd at 11 a.m. at Good Foods Grocery. Join us for a fun-filled read along and craft day designed especially for children ages 3 to 7. Kids will get creative, making their very own paper mouse ears before all the little mouses get to reading along to the classic If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. Then finish up with a sweet treat from a local vendor, The Baking Agent. And they really hope that you will join them. I think you definitely should. Please, friends, support Commonwealth Autism. Support the people who support us. Check out all of the services that they have. Maybe you're someone who could utilize their services. Maybe you have a loved one, a friend, someone who could utilize their services. So you go to commonwealthautism.org. That's commonwealthautism.org. Learn about all of the amazing things that they have going on. And a big thanks to Commonwealth Autism for making Kehillah possible.